Hello and welcome to Guide for the Mad Scientist in Iratus, Wrath of the Necromancer, Lord of the Undead, Wrath of the Necromancer DLC. This is his incarnation in the DLC right after about the werewolf patch. I forget which number it is, but you can cross-reference dates if you really need to. I doubt the strategy is going to change all that much other than maybe making him easier as it goes, but Mad Scientist is actually comparatively easier than previous fights. Certainly easier than the Mech Brothers. Probably even and easier than the Hunter. The only thing really I find that he's more difficult than is probably the Keymaster, and that's just because while he kind of fights like him, he relies less on bringing in more minions and he just busts them to insane levels. So let's go through his some stats and abilities real quick. As you can see, he doesn't hit particularly hard. He has about the health and sanity you'd expect. Fairly high, but not like exponentially that much higher than, say, the Hunter or the Mech Bros. High accuracy, no evasion, decent crit, and fairly good armor and resistance. He starts off with 4 wards and has 6 initiative. So for his trait, he doesn't escape like every boss. He has a 50% chance to redirect any attack to an ally standing in front of him, which is kind of obnoxious for any kind of single target attack. And whenever he uses an ability, he gains a buff that restores 2% of health, vigor, and sanity until the end of combat. However, this is a buff that can be removed, which will play in our strategy. For his abilities, he has 5 of them. First one, he deals basically light, fairly weak magic damage to all minions, but he shuffles positions. Therefore, if you have a position sensitive group that can't resume its position, or at the very least take too long to do so, this is a problem. But I don't think he does this attack too often. Even if he does, it's not problematic compared to some of his other stuff. The other one, he has mostly his stuff is support. He recovers 148 health and 148 sanity. If I remember correctly, this is him doing it to a specific person. He buffs them. Well, yeah, he can do it to anyone. I believe he can do it to himself, though I forget. But as a buff, it also heals them for 30% of their health, which is why we're going to tend to go towards Sanity Team for a Insanity Team. For other reasons also, we'll get to that. But obviously this restores both health and sanity, but it puts on a buff that restores health more. And since my particular physical team does not have a way of dealing with debuffs, I also, again, leaned more towards my Insanity team since the Banshee has a way of dealing with buffs, which is going to be 2 of the big factors in this fight. He has another buff. Target receives 1 block, 1 ward, and an additional action, 40 accuracy, and 20 evasion for 1 turn. Now, that's probably, he can't do it to the person at the front of the formation, but you'll see that's less of a problem. 4th ability is target receives 2 block and 2 ward. So he's going to put up a lot of block. And his 5th ability is he'll debuff all of your guys for 2 turns. They lose 15 armor and resistance, 25 accuracy, 15 evasion, 15 luck, and 5 initiative. So the key to this fight is managing the buffs and debuffs he does. Now, I can go to the icon on the map, unlike the what's he called? Unlike the Keymaster, he doesn't summon more minions. At least my previous playthrough I watched, I only killed one of his minions, the big mutant, and the rest of everybody else, and he didn't seem to summon anything else. Now, I might test that because I really don't want to have a Blade Mistress be alive. I definitely don't want that big guy to be alive for too long. So it's highly likely we're going to probably kill 2 of them, and we'll just leave the Warden up because I don't really care about him. Even with all those buffs, he's not going to do anything. He's not a threat. So since his ability doesn't seem to imply that he can actually summon anything else, like I say, it almost behooves you to just kill them all. Though I have my doubts. I think the reason I did that was because once you kill the bigger threat ones, i.e. once I kill the mutant and the Blade Mistress, the last guy's not really a threat. So there's just no point when, if you were to kill things, he might just start buffing himself, and I don't think you want that. So honestly, this fight was just so unremarkable, I kind of forgot a lot of how it worked. So I have a feeling this is going to be an easy one. But I'm going to orient towards using my stress team again. For the main reason of the stress team has the better ability to control buffs and debuffs. Obviously with the mummy, debuffs don't stick more than the turn they were cast. And since he has such low initiative, he'll always go last, and he'll just eat every debuff that comes out. By the way, I stuck him with a spiked head as his last thing, so now I have 2 spiked heads. But the mummy eats debuffs, so you'll want to make sure he has Cursed Feast as opposed to Absorb Power, although Absorb Power is an easy way to get rid of buffs. There's plenty of other ways to get rid of buffs, but nothing can compare to the mummy's just debuffs don't stick ability, and heals himself. So that's who you want. You'll want the mummy to deal with those. And the Banshee, I have to deal with the buffs. Now, the fun thing about the Banshee, I have her with the Sharpened Bone, so her abilities ignore blocks and wards. And I made sure to give her the Desolate Scream as opposed to the Paralyzing Scream, because this will remove all buffs from the target. So it gets past his wards, and it'll remove all buffs. So if he buffs anything, I just have the Banshee remove it and have her go last. And since the Banshee can just go back to the back of the line whenever she needs to, and she can do Scream from anywhere, and her evade's so high, his position shuffle's not going to be a big deal. A-Bomb has ways of moving back up. He has a way of moving back up to the front line. And the mummy really doesn't care for what he does, since he's mostly going to be absorbing curses. And when he's not, he'll do Hex Beam. And he has ways of moving up by Impending Horror. So his shuffle's not going to do much. So pretty much what you're just going to be doing is eating debuffs, eating buffs, and these two just do their thing. Have the A-Bomb eat anybody that gets low. Definitely the big thing is going to be killing that mutant, since he is fully capable, especially if buffed, and gets 2 actions of one-shotting one of my guys, especially if armor gets put down and then he goes. So very important to take care of that. He'll go first. I'm going in with full magic, and I have Finger of Death, so very likely my first action will be to actually show you my spells. Use Finger of Death, make sure he has no wards, get rid of 50% of his sanity with my spell power. For also reference, I used Calcination Mastery and Necromancy power before, so they'll receive 10% less, do 10% more, and we have more spell power. So we have a very high spell power going into this. These are my artifacts. I'm still stacking Spirit Chainmail. I got it a little late, but I don't think this fight's particularly threatening. This will give us some wards to start off until we get going, because we don't really need this or much of anything else right now. We have these to make sure his buddies don't become inspired. Usually I don't use this for a stress team against a boss, but we don't want those guys to become inspired. That is something we don't want to deal with. And as for the extra slot, I could do this straight off the bat and make all of his guys insane. But that just doesn't really seem all too terribly much worth it, just because they're going to go insane pretty quickly anyway. 10 mana a turn, that might be useful. Actually, this would probably be the most useful thing. Just make the first finger free, and then we can use another one right after that if we need. So pretty basic strategy. Really the only big thing is we just need to hurry up and knock out, at the very least we need to knock out the big mutant, because he's the only actual threat there. The scientist himself is not a threat, and the Blade Mistress by herself should be manageable, especially since we're starting off with wards. So pretty simple strategy. I don't think there's much else to go over, no real bells and whistles. So at this point, we'll bring up the team and we'll go after him. The other option you could possibly have is the Pyromancer, who I think is a lot more interesting, but we didn't get her this run, so we're going to go against this guy. Make sure everything is good. If you want to look at, I already showed you pretty much artifacts, but everybody has their class set. She has, like I say, Sharpened Bone, get rid of ignore wards, Spiked Head on both of them, and the Spider Mandibles, because he's going to, as usual, assume the No Tomorrow stance, and anytime they get debuffed, he's going to stress them out. So, easy, simple, let's go for it. And here we go. I just want to make sure I didn't forget anything. You really don't want to... you like to double check before you go into a boss. So let's go! Okay, we don't care. If you want to read that, you can pause it and read it there, but... So many wards. That was the spiked head going off, getting rid of one of her wards. He's in the back. What does he do if he's in the back? He's going to move up too, since he can only do... His only other thing is just to attack for a lot of damage, and he can't do that from the third position. Scientist is going to go next. Because can he move anyone up? No, he actually can't move his guys up. So he doesn't care about the positional stuff. I just don't want him to restore sanity to him beforehand. Okay, so Dread Roar. I think we want to just wait. Position switch. Okay. No, he did the other thing. Yeah, so do this. Assume the position. And eat the debuffs. Alright, so we're already looking good. You need to die right away. He's already insane with what? Unlucky. Should be able to eat him next turn. Yes. Okay, I think that puts us in range. I hate to not, because I don't want to run the risk of... I mean, that is about 20, and he hits for what? Just making sure. 50 to 60, that should be plenty. I just... Okay. Eat him. Alright.
This one voided its bowels just as it died.
Mm-hmm. That's all he's going to do the entire fight. And that's going to start hurting, though, so she's got to go. Wait, what action did he do? Oh, he did the big heal on himself. Yeah. So she'll make sure he does. Well, he doesn't get him keeping that right now is irrelevant. He's almost full again. Okay, so I think the strat now is to get rid of her and then just start working on him. Let's see. Finger so powerful. I remember before when it did 75%, but now just because it gets rid of everything and it scales so well with spell power, it's a lot more useful. Okay, we're about to see soon whether or not he can summon more guys. You know what I forgot to do? Since you have no actual sustain of your own without using Wrath, let's do that. He's restoring just 30-30. That ain't that much, so... That'll add up heal-wise.
Carve open their husks.
I'm feeling pretty unthreatened already. Alright. So obviously him restoring health and sanity is not something I care about. So... now he's our target. Tempted to say there's no point now in not just beating him with this, because 25 each time a debuff, that might actually still be more damage, because he debuffs. He can't really debuff. Does it do more damage? You'd have to debuff twice. So, assuming he's not getting rid of debuff... no, I think it's just more to straight up. Just make him look at your face. Whoa. And now all of his buffs are gone. You have to move up to be able to do that.
Strength through pain.
Did we not do... what was that? Was that not the positional shuffle? Oh no, that was the debuff, wasn't it? But it didn't debuff him? What happened? I'm confused. Okay. Alright, well, I just don't want you to get anything back. So now this fight is pretty much over. It's just going to take a while to get rid of him. And since we can't debuff him, there's really no point. He doesn't do damage. So... just out of curiosity, how much does a finger do to bosses? 10%. Is that worth trying to recover mana? Nah, not really. Might as well buff you a little so you can do more dread. Oh, that's a problem. There we go. Well, not a big deal, though.
Butcher them.
I honestly do think they needed to give him the ability to bring in more minions, because without it, like, once we speed killed those two, there's no threat. So, easy fight. Again, now I'm just actually trying to get him into kill range. Okay. Okay. Huh. He's not negative luck yet. Well, I need to interrupt that stance. 40% chance, but I'd rather not deal with it, to be quite frank. Wait. You can't wait. Okay.
Give them no mercy.
Oh, this'll work. I guess that was the random position, huh? I do think you could easily do this with the physical team, too. It's just they had no way to manage buffs, so this would just take that much longer. Positional switch. Well, start moving her to the back of the line.
Frail bodies fail me.
Okay. Doesn't work on bosses, so no point. Not much to say here. Let's get some mana back because we're that unthreatened right now. Ooh. I'd rather not have to deal with that, so... Okay. Really don't feel like having to deal with you get 2 attacks. Ow, he hits her pretty well. Okay, now he's in heart attack range. Can we just... It won't eat him, but... Oh, well, in that case... I didn't realize his sanity was so low. Get more mana back. Ah. Yeah. There we go. Alright, easy. Really, really easy.
From mortal kind.
Okay, there's a backup. There's a backup. And... Again, I get what they were going for, but it's just... Doesn't... I mean, maybe 80? Nah, that'd be too much. But it just... And why do I keep getting this? I don't want it. Make it go away. Alright, and that is pretty much that. Thank you very much for watching. Very easy fight. If you liked what you saw and want to support the channel, then do feel free to do all the lovely interactive stuff, like, comment, subscribe, because it makes YouTube's algorithm happy, which in turn makes me happy, because it gets more views, gets the video out there, and hopefully one day we become monetized, because I'm shamelessly doing most of this because, well, college is expensive and I need to put my kids through it. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.